In this video, we're going to take a look at the Westcott Flex LED lights. I have two of the 1x1 daylight balanced LED panels. I've been testing these out because they're much smaller and they put out just as much light as my Kino-Flos that I travel with all the time for my client work. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how to use them, what comes with them, as well as the kind of scenarios I would use them in and modify them to get some really soft light. So let's get started. So there are a few different options for these Westcott lights, and I bought these on sale from B&H for about $400 each. This box I actually keep two of them in, that's how small they are. But normally the daylight balance ones are around $600, and you can get bi-color ones that are both daylight and tungsten that you can kind of dial between for about $900 US. But we'll just go ahead and open this up, show you what it comes with, and show you how to set these up. So this is the panel. These are the little containers they're in, and they're about a foot by a foot. The LEDs are about 10 inches by 10 inches, and they put out a ton of light, which you'll see a little bit later, but we'll get to that after I show some of the other stuff here. They come also with diffusion panels, which only do about a quarter stop of light, and they go right on the panel, so it's not a very big source. I try to have a really big soft light whenever possible. So I do put these on, but I also try to put something else in front of these lights because they are so bright and I really want to soften it and get rid of the shadows. So these are the dimmers that come with it. These are really nice. You can dial from like 1 to 2 to 3% all the way up to 100. So you can really fine tune what it is you're wanting to get light amount wise. So got two of those in here. These are the little brackets that go on a light stand, and then this ball head attaches to the actual light using these fixtures here. These go like crossways on the back of the light. I'll show you how those work. Have the power brick as well. Extension cables in case you're far from a power source. And really that's about it that you get with this. So like I said, I keep two of them in this box, which is about the size of a laptop, maybe a little thicker. But with these cables and with the light panels, you can fit them into a laptop sleeve of a backpack or something else versus just a really big roller case, which is what I've been using for my Kino-Flos and even testing out some of the Felix LED lights as well, that there's a video on my channel too. So that's all that comes with these. I'm gonna start setting them up and show you guys how they work. Okay, so to actually put these things together, all you have to do is on the back of the LEDs, they have these little latches here, and you have to stick the metal piece of the X bracket, which I always make sure that if you're buying these to get the X bracket version, because you're gonna wanna be able to mount these on light stands and other places. I mean, you can tape them to walls and stuff, but I like to do it this way. And then when you get those holes to line up, that's how you attach this right here. And then you can either clamp this onto something, a door frame, anything really, or this is a standard light stand mount as well. So once you get the bracket put together here, you have these locking cables, which are nice, so they're not gonna get pulled apart. You actually have to screw them together so they won't pull apart. And what's really nice is, usually I'm too far away from an outlet when I'm filming something, but this extension cable goes between the dimmer and the actual light. And you're gonna get, I think this is like 15 feet long, plus the 10 feet or so, another 3 feet here. So you could probably be like 20 to 25 feet away from an outlet and be fine, which is really nice. So now that this is set up, I'm gonna go ahead and on the bottom of the dimmer here is an on-off switch. Go ahead and flip that to on, and that's really bright. Turn that all the way down. You can see when it gets down to 1%, it kind of clicks off. But these things are insanely bright. That right there is just 2%. And so as I turn this on, it gets pretty gnarly and pretty bright. And so my favorite part about this is as you dim them, the quality of light, the color of light doesn't really change. It stays pretty standard right around 5600. So the ability to just dial in the exact amount of light you want means you don't have to play around with the settings on your camera to get the proper exposure. You can just play with the light and dial it in. Now to get this diffuser thing on here, you can't just pop it right on. You have to actually flip these guys around, these little metal brackets on the corners. And once you do that, you then have them sticking out a little bit from the edges here so that the diffusion doesn't sit directly on the lights and get too hot and catch on fire or something. So go ahead and put that on right now. Come on. There we go. So it's bending a little bit, but you get the gist of how to mount this on here. So there, now that should diffuse a little bit, make it a little bit softer, not as bright of a light now. So now that we have it mounted and kind of set up and turned on, we'll go ahead and use these in a couple different examples and setups so you can see the quality of light you get out of it. And then also I'll talk about a few different ways, both on the low budget end and on the higher budget end, to soften these, because they're not very big. They're only 1 foot by 1 foot, and I like to have bigger light sources. So I'll talk a little bit about how I soften these. So I know you can't see me really well. We'll just focus on seeing Tim here. We're gonna do a little demo of how I would set this up for an interview, and I have the C100 here. So right now you can see it's pretty dark on Tim. We have some window light kind of filling the side of his face, but to this side of the room, it's really dark. So if I was gonna do a little interview, I'd probably center him over on the left here, and I'm seeing him getting a little bit of light on the side of his face here. So I'm gonna key probably from this right side here. So if I go ahead and turn this one on, you can see it doesn't really take that much on these to get a good look. Let me go ahead and turn this towards me. So that's at like 75%. Does that seem bright to you?
It's a little bright.
A little bright to you? Right to you. So I'm gonna put it down on 60, go like this, maybe soften it a little bit. So you're gonna lose some detail. And I'm about like 45 degrees off from him, and then I'm actually gonna go a little higher as well. If I go higher, this will give him more definition in the chin area. Tighten that down. So another thing I could do is I could just open this up a little bit, refocus. Now I have some soft light that you're looking at there. And that's how I would do just like a 1 light setup. If I wanted it to be a little less dramatic and I wasn't getting this backlight from him, probably bring another light over here, super close to fill in some of these shadows. Go back to the dimmer, maybe only like 15 or 20%, because it's that much closer. Now it's really flat light and not dramatic, versus if I'm like bringing this one up a bunch and then stopping down, you're getting more shadows and that sort of thing. So you have a lot of different options with these lights and placement, and really you can use just one to give you the light that you want. And so it's just really helpful to be able to mount them in these different ways. And so if I was to start over, probably what I'd do is I would actually bring in this big guy, which is actually hard to maneuver in this small amount of space without knocking lights over. And I would knock it down more. Oh, there we go. So I'd knock it down more. I'm getting a real big source of light now. So I can go ahead, I could take off this diffusion if I wanted. And then the further this is away from Tim, the bigger the light source will be. Soften it up like that and get a good look. And if I really wanted to get, like outside the window, I might bring in this other light, try to get it up to the same height. Put them next to each other, double my light output. Let's go to 100. Take off the diffusion. I mean, you can start to compete, especially if you get rid of this piece here. And that's probably really painful for Tim to look at. But if I stop down, you can see now I'm like trying to properly expose Tim. You can see I'm getting, I'm getting some of the palm trees back there in the shot by just completely overpowering it. And this probably isn't very comfortable. Is it very comfortable to look at? It's a little bright.
It's not great.
It's not too bad?
It's not too bad.
Yeah, so if you want to try to overpower some windows or something like that, these have the power to do that. It's cloudy out right now, but typically I'd come in and save their eyes a little bit. Block it up a little bit. Bring this back. And that's a little bit more bearable for Tim. So I know a lot of people have actually complained about this little clip and ball head attachment. And it is a little weird because, this ball head, you maybe want to bring it down all the way and you can't. But kind of one solution I've found is if you turn the ball head so that you can get it angled like that and then close it off. I'll turn it so you can see a little better. If you get the ball head actually in the little socket, then you can angle it a little bit better down. Otherwise, this clip will block it. But if you put the side of the ball head in the little side pocket, you can get it to tilt down a little better. That's just a tiny little thing. So you're trying to get it to catch right here so it can actually go down further. Tighten it back up. And then if you want, just take it completely off of a light stand. And then you have a clip here that you can do whatever you want with. So I'd probably loosen it a little bit, like this, tighten it up. And then, you can clip this on whatever you want. You could clip it on a bookshelf behind someone for a hair light. You could clip it onto a table. You could clip it onto something close to your ceiling, and then you could have some nice soft light coming down from the ceiling. So I just like this as a versatile option. This little piece right here, this wing nut, you can take off. And I've seen Caleb Pike over at DSLR Video Shooter actually mount a monitor arm onto this, so you have a little bit more control of it. But changing out this clip to something else that would fit right on this wing nut, like a monitor arm, would be a really good way to use this in a different way. So like if I was going to do a hair light and there was a bookshelf behind like this, you could clip it on like this, have some hair light if you're shooting in a direction that's not really touching it, and then you could dim it much lower, put the diffusion on it. Just something really small to have a little bit of an impact on someone as a hair light would be a good option. So these are just versatile, and it's nice that you can actually just take a couple of these and put them in your bag or something like that. So I'm going to start traveling with these a lot more. I'm going to start using them on shoots, especially when I have to fly, because it's a lot less weight that I have to take, because I can just put them in a regular laptop bag or something. And Tim's trying to use one to light me right now. And they're just really versatile because you can dim them. So you can just get the exact amount of light that you want. And I would definitely check these things out. They're not the cheapest LED lights in the market. There are a ton of LEDs that are pretty bad. But these ones, the nice thing about them is that you can just be rest assured that they're going to be good quality, like little LED bulbs that all match color-wise, and that's why they're a little bit more expensive. So if I was to keep using these, some of the accessories I would get would be, they have battery packs that are pretty expensive. I think they're like $300 just to power the lights, but they'll last for 3 hours on one of these lights. And then I don't need outlets. I could be more mobile. I know my friend Levi Allen, in his review of these lights, he's taking them out into the wilderness to do interviews and that sort of thing. And he just uses a battery pack, and that enables him to be free from power outlets. So if I was to use these a lot, I'd probably invest in a couple more of those and maybe even get some bigger ones. And in comparison to something like my Kino-Flos, which are these huge, it's like 67 pounds for me to fly with this huge case that I have to roll around, carry upstairs, that sort of thing. I always have to pay overages on luggage fees for that. They're huge fluorescent tubes that can break. I always travel with extra ones. They do produce really soft, beautiful, bright light, but as you dim them, the color changes, which these don't. These don't have like a green hue that I've gotten with other LED lights I've used before. And just because of how lightweight these things are, you know, they're lighter than a laptop. They feel like a small stack of a piece of paper. You can mount them wherever you want, on monitor arms, on just like off of your tripod if you had the right connectors, or from the ceiling or what have you. So they're just really versatile, and I'm really excited to be using these. I paid my own money for both of these. This is my own opinion, but I just think these are some of the best LEDs on the market if you're willing to spend a little bit of the money. If you're looking into getting these Westcott Flex lights, I would definitely recommend checking out both Caleb Pike and Levi Allen's video reviews of them as well. I learned a lot of things from them, especially the monitor arm trick that Caleb Pike recommended. So definitely just subscribe to the YouTube channel for more reviews, and I think that's it.